Today on Big Brother Rewind, the coaches enter the game after being given the choice to stay coaching or to play in the game. Was Shane's week as HOH a complete waste? And Danielle wins the HOH endurance competition. Will she make any big moves? All this and more on this week's Big Brother Rewind.
Welcome, everybody, to another Big Brother Rewind. Should be a good one, because it was a very good week for Big Brother, in my opinion. I'm your host, Andrew Zarian. I'm joined by Jessica, as I am each and every week. How you doing, Jess?
Hello.
And, of course, John. How you doing, John?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Very excited for this week's Big Brother Rewind, because a lot happened in the house, and very good season so far. I have to say that. I don't know about you guys. Do you guys agree that it was a good season?
So far, it's a good season.
So far, it's decent.
But I don't like the whole new twist.
Yeah. That's what's really going to start changing the season, I think.
I guess we should go right into it, right? Let's start going into what happened this week on Big Brother. I want to remind everybody, we get all our information from onlinebigbrother.com for if you're looking for spoilers, if you're looking to find out what happened in the house with recaps. This is the place to go. onlinebigbrother.com is the site. Where do we begin, Jess?
I really just think that we need to talk about how they've changed the game. They've reset the entire game. And now the coaches have been invited back in. I think it's kind of silly that they had this whole invitation for America to decide whether or not the coaches were going to come back in. We all kind of knew the coaches were coming in.
Oh, it was. I mean, they knew they were going to do it.
It was just so poorly planned out. I feel like they had this plan from the very beginning, and it seems kind of like a cop-out. Like, now we know that there were issues in the beginning. They voted out someone right away. Then, Willie got knocked out of the game, and then now there's too many weeks and not enough people,
Yeah.
and so they did this reset, and I think the reset's stupid.
John, how about you? What do you think about the reset?
It could go either way. It really could. I mean, it could be the fact that these coaches end up getting the boot early, unlike last season when they did this. And I think that's part of the problem is that last year we had 4 vets in the house, and they basically ran the house the entire season.
Well, no,
so now we have
6 vets.
We've got the same thing this time where we have vets in the house, and are they going to run the game the whole time? I think that's what people are worried about, is that it being a repeat of last season now that they're actually playing. Because when they were coaches, they were playing a different game. It was still up for a newbie to win, but the coaches were a completely different, separate kind of thing in a way. Now you kind of have a repeat of last season.
Come to think about all the crazy stuff that happened in the game. Last week we were discussing how Britney's an awful coach and she's really weak. She has no control of her players. But maybe that was her plan all along, to have them self-destruct. So you knock out these big guys, Shane, for example, big name, Frank, Willie. Frank's obviously not on her team, but the more that these strong players lose it, the better it is for her, because she does not have a target on her head.
Right.
So let's run down what happened last week. I guess we'll go to the eviction, which did not happen. There was no eviction, because just like Jess and John said,
the way they timed this episode was really interesting, because they really didn't leave any time for an eviction. They set it up so that coaches were given a choice, and the choice was, if you press this button, the game reset. And only one coach had to press the button. They all got the chance, the opportunity to. And if they press this button, the game resets, they enter the game. If they didn't press the button, somebody would be evicted, and then a hamster would also be revived. But the way they timed this
would have been
episode,
JoJo.
they didn't have time for a live eviction. They ended up doing this, asking the coaches to vote at like 9:50, which left maybe 10 minutes,
Right.
if that.
For an eviction.
Well, they knew that someone was going to say yes. I mean, they made it so that it was only one person had to say yes and everybody went back in. They already knew that Janelle was going to want to play.
Yeah.
They knew Dan was going to want to play. And they 100%, I mean, Dan was maybe on the fence, but you 100% knew that pretty much all the coaches were going to want to play.
They were all going to want to play, yeah.
Except for Boogie.
Which he was devastated by this. He was really pissed off. He didn't want to enter the game. He wanted that $100,000.
Right. He wanted that $100,000 and he really, really believed he was going to get it.
So they do this weird thing, and it's at the end. And it made no sense. Like, if all of them vote, then they stay. Like, they stay as a coach. Like, if all of them, but everybody needs to vote. If one vote goes one way, it's over. But what happens if it was a tie?
No,
it would have been just one that decided.
Really, only if, let's say, Dan. If Dan was the only person that said he wanted to play, everyone was going to play.
Yeah. Oh, so to play, yeah. Okay. No,
so they knew
someone would have said it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So did CBS just save themselves $100,000, or was there really ever $100,000?
Well, did CBS save Frank again for his second week?
Yeah. I feel like they want Frank around because they want him to make it really close to the end, and even if he doesn't win, they want to bring him back in All Stars.
Well, they did that thing with his dad. You know, they showed his father, Sid Vicious, the wrestler.
Yeah.
They did this whole thing, which we haven't seen it done with anybody else.
Right.
This season. There's a lot of attention with him.
I definitely think that he escaped the block for a second time.
Yeah, I mean,
because the way they set it up was that everybody was going to vote Frank out. Right. So Frank got saved.
Right.
But what a waste of a week for Shane, huh? Shane had such a waste of a week.
I'm sorry, but I feel like I just wasted a month of my life.
Yeah.
Because we just restarted the entire game, started with 12 people. Back to this is last season. Not only did I lose a month of my life, but I feel like we just took a trip back to last year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, pretty much it's the same exact thing as last year.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was couples.
The whole thing is the same exact.
I really hope they don't keep doing this.
I think that's what
we're due for an All-Star. We're due for one.
Yeah, but I think they.
How can you have an All-Star now that you've had 2 seasons of past vets on there?
Well, they're probably going to do. They'll do. Big Brother.
You can't bring back Boogie. You can't bring back Janelle.
No, but not for All Stars. Yeah.
You can't bring back Dan because they've already been on.
No, you know what they'll do?
3 seasons.
They'll do. Well, no. Dan could be on. Dan was on only 1 season, so Dan could be on. Enzo will be on. Mm-hmm. You'll have Rachel, Jordan. You'll have all those on again. And you do an All-Star, and then you start again. You start fresh after that. That's the only thing that I could see coming from this. And I hope that they do that because I really don't want to see every single season have these veterans. But here's the problem is
that you've got all these actual hardcore Black Big Brother fans that are now upset that they've got these vets in the game, and they don't want to see any game with vets. They want to see newbies and newbies only.
Yeah, but I'll tell you something.
If they end up doing an All-Star season next year, they're going to be pissed off. They're not going to watch. They're not going to care at all about Big Brother.
No, the people that are complaining, I'm telling you, they love seeing the vets. They love it. I know a lot of people complain about the vets and how it sucks and it's ruining the show. But if you mention Evil Dick to any of them, they'll wish he's back in the house.
Well, I also think that they're going to try to create new All-Stars in this season.
Yeah.
So they're holding on to Frank. They want to make him an All-Star.
Willie could have been an All-Star, and he ruined it.
He could. Yeah, but
Shane.
We do have Shane as an All-Star. I mean, they keep showing Shane as, like this hot guy. Yeah. So I feel like they're trying to make him be like.
He's
Brandon,
losing his hair though.
Kind of. I don't know.
He's losing his hair.
I think that they're holding on to Frank.
So we have this. Do you
think they are purposely trying to save Frank?
Yes.
You think so? CBS is purposely
100%.
trying to save Frank.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is, and I put this in notes, is CBS just saved themselves $100,000.
Yeah.
Now, did they actually have that $100,000 to begin with?
Well, it's CBS.
Yeah, but did they plan on? No. What he's trying to say is, did they ever plan on using that $100,000 on a player? No,
I don't think so.
It didn't exist.
Yeah.
They knew.
I mean, I think that over time they always have like 50,000, 60,000 that they give away throughout the season. So that's possible that they're going to use it for that.
I don't know. A little weird of a move.
This is another realization is that fact that if you remember that the coaches also got a suite in the HOH room. But now that suite that they had was actually Pandora's room. So now they've opened that up where there's no longer a coach's suite, so they can use that as a Pandora's box again.
Right. Because we all love Pandora's box.
Yeah, because great things come out of there. So a week. I'm disappointed because Shane actually played good. I mean, Shane did and we'll get to what he did. Did we talk about last week?
Not with the whole backdooring thing.
Oh, yeah, we did it for the spoiler. Yeah, so he backdoored Frank, and I thought that was such a brilliant move by him. He made sure that Frank wasn't gonna play. He made sure that Frank couldn't have won the veto.
Right.
He got the veto, and he backdoored him, and it was done in such like an easy way for him, and that was it. Frank was going home until the day of the game. Until the day of the eviction.
Right. And then, and not even usually when you're being backdoored, you have some sort of sense of it.
He had no clue.
He had really convinced
because they had that weird alliance
that Shane was, really a stand-up guy and wasn't going to backdoor him. And he never would have been any of the wiser at all.
Yeah.
Unless Dan, spilt everything. As soon as they call a HOH competition, Dan runs over to Boogie and tells him, we were going to kick out Frank.
Yeah. HOH competition time, endurance.
Which we've been waiting for one.
Ian knew it was an endurance.
Yes. He did. He had Under Armour on.
He had Under Armour on. Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant move by him. He knew it was endurance. So pretty much it was very similar to the skiing one that they had last year, where they were all on the skis.
And then the surfboard before that.
And the surfboard before that. So they were on a plank, and it was a ship, and the ship would go up and down, and it would spray them with water, and bird poop would spray on them.
Right.
Boogie was the first to drop, and obviously he dropped himself because he did not want that HOH. His whole thing is he's going to lay low and just fly by.
Now, do we think that Boogie actually hasn't shown all that he's capable of?
Oh, he doesn't give a crap. Boogie does not care, and it's the best thing he could possibly do because he knows that there's a target on him because he's one of the most legendary players in Big Brother history. And this is his way of saying, oh, look, I'm not that young guy from 10 years ago. I'm an old guy now. I'm in my 40s. I'm not good at this game. Don't worry about me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's the best thing he could do. I have a theory on these endurance competitions. It seems like the strongest players drop out really fast. And by strongest,
Dan
I mean,
also dropped out intentionally, too.
But I love how Will turned around and was like, oh, look at Dan playing the whole Dan game,
Oh, Will knew.
Will totally knew. And it's a page right out of Dan's coaching book. That's how you win. You win by losing competitions, and you don't win until it's necessary.
I have a whole theory on these competitions. Shane has been working out like a madman. Mm-hmm. Shane and Frank and we saw, even Jeff would do that last year, and we had a bunch of Brandon. Why did I just forget his name? So these big muscular guys always do awful on these endurances. And I'm sure someone's going to send me an email giving me an exception, but I'm talking about the last couple of ones that I've seen. They've done really bad. And my theory is that they spend so much time working out. When it comes to stamina, they don't have it because their muscles are so tired from all the workout that they've been doing.
Right.
So when it comes to time for these competitions, they're strong and they can lift shit, but they're not able to stay on that thing because their arms are starting to wobble because they're exhausted. Look at the people the last X amount of people on there. It was Britney. It was Danielle.
Ian.
It was Will.
Danielle.
Ian. And I think Janelle was the other one, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Shane did awful.
Shane did really bad.
He looked like he was in pain.
Joe did bad too, but Joe's a waste. Yeah, Shane was dying, and Shane wanted to stay up there so long. He was dying to stay up there. Fascinating thing. So now they're all up. They start dropping out. Will turns to Danielle and says, am I good? Turns to Britney, am I good? Turns to Ian, am I good? They all say yes. Will goes out. I think the last three were Ian, Britney, and Danielle. Ian drops. Britney and Danielle.
Well, they all three of them made deals too.
They all made a deal. They all pretty much made a deal.
Right.
Who was the last one to drop?
Britney.
Britt.
Britney was the last one. Who was after? It was Ian.
Yeah. Ian dropped and Britney dropped
Ian
and Danielle won.
So they all made a deal.
Right.
They all made this pact. Here comes Dan running.
Yes.
Right?
He gave Danielle a big speech, by the way.
Yeah, came running to
Even
Danielle.
though they're not coaches anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Came running to her like we got it. And here comes Shane, Mr. I want nothing to do with this broad.
Yeah.
She's nuts. Comes down, runs down, throws her in the water, and they start making out.
Right. Smartest moment.
It was so smart, but
television
anybody
history.
watching was like, holy shit, this guy is playing her.
And she's so dumb.
Wrapped up. She's so wrapped up into him.
Oh.
But that's the thing. She's just insecure, and she's
naive.
one of those types of women that will let this happen to her time and time again.
Yeah, it seems like it.
And we know this from history, from listening to her on the live feeds, talking about all the bad boyfriends that she's had and etc. and her daddy issues.
Yeah. So she got it, and here's
Which was
Shane.
surprising. I would not have expected Danielle to actually win in it during this competition.
You know what? No, I'm not. I'm not surprised. She's a nurse. She's on her feet. Her entire job is lifting people and not being on her feet.
That's true.
She has a stamina.
12 hours of standing on your feet. Yes.
Yeah.
She's got that.
I'm not
And
really
I think
surprised.
I think that anybody with very thin arms had a leg up in this competition
Why do
because
you
you were
think that?
able to link your arms behind the pole and kind of lay. If you linked your arms behind the pole, you could lay down kind of
on it.
on it. And
Right.
Ian was able to do it, Britney was able to do it, and Danielle was able to do it.
Frank had a size disadvantage because he was so tall.
Frank's
He was
gigantic.
so tall, and Dan probably would have been able to do it. However, he was trying to lose, so he didn't even try.
Boogie
But
didn't
none of
try
them.
either.
Yeah, but Boogie doesn't have really tiny thin arms. Like it would have to be like really skinny girl arms.
No, Boogie's like a little old man.
Yeah, but he's not a little girl.
At this point, we see, Danielle wins, and they're all. It's after that, and Will comes up to Danielle, and they're talking. It's Will, Britney, and Danielle, and they're talking about who they're going to put up. And Britney goes, I'm safe. And Will goes, I'm safe. And she gave him like this weird answer. He goes, we made that deal. And she goes, oh yeah, we made a deal. I forgot we made a deal.
Well, thank God for Will not realizing it.
Yeah, Will had no clue.
Well, I mean,
unfortunately,
for Will bringing it up.
No, but unfortunately, he's nominated on the block. Danielle nominates Will after saying, "Are we good?" Yes, we are. Nominates him to be on the block, and she nominates
As a
Frank
pawn, by the way.
as a pawn. Yes, he's a pawn because
Pawn
Frank's the
that's
target.
always
Not that she or anybody has actually communicated this to Will.
Right.
Yeah, nobody has
Right.
told Will this.
Wouldn't you pull Will aside and say, "Hey, listen"?
I can't put
And
anybody else on.
Pawn always goes home. Why don't you put Jen up? Jen hasn't done anything this entire season.
Yeah, that's fascinating, right? Why wouldn't you put Jen up?
If it's just a pawn you're looking for, put Jen up.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Yeah.
Who would you
Will
have-
is actually like if I was
Joe
going to sit back,
would go
okay,
up too.
right?
I could see
Joe. I mean,
Joe.
Joe was there from last week. I mean, maybe she doesn't want to put Joe up, but seriously, Jen has done nothing this entire season. She's sat back, floated on her like punk style, and that's all she's done. Is like she's like the rocker chick who's been in the background. She hasn't done one little thing. The whole point is it's a pawn. Why wouldn't you take?
You know
Jen?
who she is? She is, God, I forgot his name. Kevin from Big Brother 11. She reminds me just like Kevin. He made it at the end.
Right. Float till the end.
Float till the end. And he was one of these guys that nobody looked at him as a threat at all. And he made
Right.
it to the end. Here's my issue with this. So who's running the house at this point? Danielle is not running the house.
No.
And we're going to get into spoilers. We're going to talk about the POV comp. We're going to talk about, what's happening with POV. We're going to talk about if there were any changes, because today were the changes, if there were going to be any, the sub-nominees. Who's running this house?
Will the real HOH
Britney and
please
Shane.
step up?
Yeah.
It's Britney and Shane.
Britney,
And
Shane,
And
Dan. 3 of them are running the house.
Yeah.
She is the weakest HOH ever. She has. I don't even think she. You know why I think she
But
nominated
what about
Will?
Enzo?
Did Enzo get HOH?
Yeah,
He
I
did
thought
once.
I think at the very end, it was like the last possible.
But
He
one.
had, like,
Enzo
last
was
HOH.
social. Like Enzo was
had
so
a huge social
Enzo
game.
was so wrapped up in his social game, he didn't need to have a physical game.
Right.
And they loved him. Everybody liked Enzo,
Right.
so nobody wanted to evict him. I mean, he was a good player. He was an awful player, but he was a good player.
He was fun to watch.
But it wasn't fun to watch the game because that entire season was controlled by the Brigade,
Which he was part of.
It was his, but from the start to the end.
He was really smart. He had everybody doing his bidding for him. That was like brilliant. It was so smart. Why wouldn't you?
We have not seen any major alliances, which is fascinating. 5 weeks in.
Well, a new one did kind of form today between Wil, Ashley, and Jen.
Wil, Ashley, and Jen. Yeah. But I think that was there initially. You know, fascinating. Why didn't Ashley go up? Why didn't she put up Ashley? I'm really curious on why Wil. My theory is that she's so dumb, she doesn't her memory she couldn't think of anybody else to put up, and she was like, I'm just going to put Wil up.
Well, perhaps she couldn't remember anybody else in the house because nobody else has done anything.
No one has done anything, so maybe that was the only thing.
She didn't remember Jen because she didn't even realize Jen was still living there.
So we'll go into some spoilers because a lot has happened in the house the last couple of days. POV competition. I don't necessarily. What was the competition? Do you remember?
I haven't heard anybody actually say what exactly it was. I think it had some sort of like baseball type of theme. They had to hit something or something like that.
We could be totally wrong. Yeah, we could be wrong.
Right. This hasn't happened yet.
But there were prizes, and they did. The unitard is back.
Of course.
And Frank got the humilitard, which
is now
broke.
being called a cheertard. And
cheertard,
can I just say this is the most stupidest cheertard that Big Brother has ever had.
Why? What happened?
Even Ian has called them out on this.
What happened? Why is it
dumb?
dumb?
What does it look like?
It's a cheerleader outfit with spandex.
It's basically just a purple spandex suit
with a skirt,
with a cheerleader skirt on it, and this haphazardly ironed on Big Brother letters on it.
And it broke.
That's it. And it broke. The letters look like they're falling off. The zipper broke. So basically, he's wearing like a jacket.
Yeah.
So it's the biggest fail of a humilitard ever.
Jen won a trip to Hawaii.
That's what Jen was there for. Jen was there to win a trip to Hawaii.
This is the best. I'm dying to see this on TV.
Thank God for this.
This is if I've ever seen anything on Big Brother, this is it. This takes it all.
Oh yeah, everything.
Ian has to be a dog for the week, and he has to be on a chain. He has to dress like a dog. How long?
24
hours. He has to. What did I say? I said a week. 24 hours. Because I would want to see that for a week. He has to dress like a dog, walk like a dog, sleep in a doghouse.
He had options.
What were the options?
He had options because he wasn't the last one up. He was one of the last ones up there, so he could have actually taken somebody else's prize instead of the dog.
Why does he want to do that?
Because Ian is super smart. He knows that if he keeps taking all the punishments, everybody else is going to keep him in the house because he's willing to take the punishments. He's willing to give up $5,000 to be the dog. He's willing to take slop for an additional week, even though he's had it every single week since he's been there. He's willing to take every single punishment that there is.
So now someone has to walk him. He has to eat out of a dog bowl
on him at all times.
At all times,
walk around.
He is a dog. He has to sleep in a doghouse outside.
No.
Yes.
No.
He's a dog. He has a little dog outfit, little jumpsuit.
It's actually, you know what? It wasn't. It was probably the second best thing since the HOH room.
That's
because it was almost like your own private place. I'm sure you were outside, but you had your own sleeping bag. It was probably the best thing he's had since moving in there the first week.
That's true, because he's been a have-not the whole time.
But he has to eat out of a dog bowl, right?
Yeah.
It's fascinating. I love that.
And it's funny because
he use his hands?
When he has to go to the potty, they play this barking sound. He has to wave at the camera, and then the barking sound will play, and somebody has to come get him.
To take him out to take him to the bathroom?
Take him like to the toilet bowl, or to take him he has to go outside?
Whenever he has to actually go to the bathroom. And then he has to keep the leash on him while he's in the bathroom.
Jesus Christ.
I guess
CBS.
I guess you know what? I'll pull up on Big Brother because they have some great
this
screenshots.
Whole cheertard thing was a complete and utter failure.
Right.
Okay, let's see if I can pull this up.
It just seems a little ridiculous, don't you think, Suncast? Can you imagine?
That was awesome, and Ian loved it.
Here it is. Ready, guys?
Ashley loved it because Ashley was feeding him food, and she actually kind of enjoyed it a little bit.
Ashley's such a strange character.
So that's his house. That's his little dog house.
Aw.
And that's him being walked. And Danielle's feeding him. And there he is eating.
Well, at least he gets to use his hands.
That's great.
Oh, he looks so sad and defeated.
He does look sad.
Why are they having a powwow? Oh my God.
Oh yeah, and he can't sit anywhere. He can't actually sit down on like a stool or a
He
chair.
has to sit on the floor.
Oh, he's not invited to be on. He's not like a.
No, he has to pretend to be a dog, basically. He can
Our
walk
dogs sleep
upright,
in the
but that's
bed.
about
Our
it.
dog sleeps in the bed. No, well, we treat him well.
I mean, we do treat him well, but still.
Now, the winner of POV is Danielle.
I know. Where is this coming from?
No idea. Amazing.
She's like a player and a half all of a sudden.
Amazing.
Who knew?
Amazing.
Who knew? You know what I think? I think now more and more they're showing her without her makeup, and maybe her makeup was slowing her down.
You
Like
think
there
the
was just
makeup was-
so much on her that it was causing her to be like slowed down. It was like seeping into her brain. She wasn't able to function.
Now she's not wearing
and
as
now
much makeup.
that she's not wearing like any makeup, it's hard to look at her, but she's doing really well now.
Yeah. Shane also got a veto ticket so he could compete in a veto competition.
Whenever he wants,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Nominee time.
yes.
Time for nominations. Replacement nomination. Does Danielle use the POV? Again, this is a spoiler, so if you don't want to hear this, you could turn it off.
But don't really.
But don't really, because you want to know. I know you want to know.
I can tell you want to know.
You know what I do? I'm one of these sick people that before I go to see a movie, I read the spoiler
Yes.
because I don't want the surprise. I want to know what happened before it happened. So I sit and I read all the spoilers. Batman, read the spoiler.
When do you actually go out to movies?
Listen, I saw a movie.
When do you go to the theater?
Christmas.
Yeah, which is like once a year.
Once a year. And
It
that's
wasn't. It's not like this isn't something that we normally do on Christmas. It just so happened that this year we did it on Christmas. We went to a movie.
and I felt very itchy.
Yeah.
Because there's feces and lice all over the seats. That's true. Oprah Winfrey special, 1996, on the dangers around you. And she said the movie
You were
theater is one of the
12.
dirtiest places in the world. You know what? Times have not changed. Movie theaters are still dirty. Nothing has changed since 96.
Nothing.
Nothing. Everything is
Everything
the
is
same.
exactly
I wish
the same.
everything was the same. POV meeting.
TLC is still awesome.
TLC is still awesome.
Left Eye is the best.
Tupac just died. Yeah, a lot's been going on. POV meeting. Danielle uses the veto.
On.
Suncast, you want to say this?
Dun, 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 dun.
Saved Will, which this is interesting how this all came about. The fact that she decided to use the veto to save Will, and in
By the
Will's
way-
place, she nominates Janelle,
Yeah.
which is a little strange. I
I
guess
made a mistake in the
Will
notes.
and Shane kind of got to Danielle and kind of helped convince her to save Will and put up Janelle instead.
Yes,
Because if you remember,
But
all
now they're
along,
looking to get them.
the plan was to put Will up there as a pawn to send Frank home.
Right.
But now,
But now Janelle's up there, and people are going to vote to get rid of Janelle.
I don't know about that. You think they're going to vote her out? I mean, she is out of her mind, but she's a target.
Well,
like,
she's already got 3 votes against her. She's got Will, Ashley, and what's the other guy that was in that alliance? I can't remember. Will, Ashley, and Jen.
So is
really?
all three of them
Wait a
are
minute.
gonna vote her
Why?
out.
Why?
because
They
Will,
hate
Ashley,
her.
and Jen
They
are working
can't
together.
stand her.
And remember,
Oh, that
Will
issue with
hates
Will.
Janelle.
Yeah, they had like, because Janelle said, "Look what I did for you. I
Right.
saved you. I saved you."
And if it wasn't Frank, you'd be out the door.
And probably Shane will vote her out. No, who's Shane going to vote out? Unless they turn around to Frank and be like, "Listen, I'm the swing vote. If I'm safe, I'll keep you."
Right. I don't think this is the end of Frank.
No, I think I'm telling you
I
that
think he's going to escape the block again.
I
he
think
is.
so.
He
I
is.
think so
Which is
because I
gonna be
think they're
crazy.
trying to create a character here. And if he goes home now, then he's not a character. But if he stays again for the 3rd time, he could be like the guy. What was the other one? Jesse. Like Jesse ended up getting nominated like 3 or 4 times in a row, and then not getting taken out. And
He
he,
was
finally
so
got
useless.
backdoored.
Oh
He
God,
was-
Jesse was useless.
I know. But still, I think Janelle's going home.
So Jen, Ashley, and Will are going to vote her out. So that leaves Ian. No, wait a minute. Boogie's going to vote her out. Going to keep Frank.
right.
Ian, who does Ian vote? Who does Dan vote? And Britney's going to vote her out. Oh, she's gone.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
She's gone.
Like the
100%.
plan they started with to use Will as a pawn to send Frank home
Would have
What
worked.
happened in the last 3 days to make them change their mind?
Yeah, what happened? Why?
I mean, all of a sudden she decides to use the veto to put up Janelle. That is very.
But
weird.
why Janelle? Why Janelle?
I don't really know.
Yeah,
I guess
trying to.
there's.
I'm trying to
I
think
think
that
they don't trust her. Is what it comes down.
no,
to,
because
is-
she's trying to play everybody.
Right.
I mean, that's a big person to get out. And you know what? Maybe they need to get rid of a vet. You've had 4 newbies get eliminated already.
Right.
And it's going to be very disappointing for her because this is her 3rd time playing Big Brother, and she's going to be sent home.
And she's
without
like
winning.
one of the middle ones to go home.
Yeah.
She's actually the first one to go home, considering it was a reset.
Which is
Yeah.
ridiculous. This poor girl should not be playing Big
Yeah.
Brother anymore.
You know, I
Should
think
get the hint.
it's interesting. I really feel that Britney, my numbers are still good, huh? Only JoJo's out. I had said Britney, Shane, JoJo, Frank.
Right. Well, you did a good job.
Well, not originally.
And I picked,
I can tell you who you had originally.
who'd I have originally?
Let me load up my tally sheet here.
Oh, you have a tally sheet.
Oh,
I have a
excuse
tally
me,
sheet. I'm keeping track of
sometimes.
this for you.
Okay.
Okay.
I have Frank in there because I remember the first week of nominations, I said Frank's gonna stay, and he's like my go-to guy. He's the guy in the race that broke his leg, but you're still putting money down because you have a feeling
You
at the end.
originally,
Who'd I have?
actually, you were really spot on originally.
Who'd
you
I have?
had Shane, Danielle, Will, and Frank.
Really?
Then you changed it to Frank, JoJo, Will, and Ian.
So I
And
had
then
Shane.
Janelle, Brittany, and Ian.
All right. Who do I have?
No. Let's go with the original one because I like the sound of that one better.
That's not how this game
you
works.
I had Shane, Danielle, Will, and Frank,
Uh-huh.
and I think it's going to be Will and Frank at the end,
Uh-huh.
and Frank will win, and then his father will come out. We'll go, oh, I'm Sid
especially
Vicious.
since they keep going back and forth and showing that he's unemployed under his name. That's all that comes up. Unemployed. So I feel like
His
this
dad
is
made
going to
good
be
money in the business. So.
this is going to be his new job.
Big
He's going
Brother.
to be on Big Brother for the rest of his life.
Who did you have, John?
My last predictions were Frank, JoJo, Will, and Shane,
Frank, JoJo.
which we now know that JoJo is gone. So
Who was your first?
I had the same one for both weeks.
Oh, you had the same one. And what was Jess's?
Her
Jody, Kara, Willie, and
first
Jody.
one, her first week, she had JoJo, Will, Ian, and Willie. And then last week, she had Brittany, Janelle, Ian, and Shane.
Okay. Still in the game here, buddy.
You're still in the game. I'm in the lead.
Fine.
How are
Um,
you in the lead?
Who knows?
Why? I have
You've changed
Shane.
yours.
What?
Andrew's crazy. That's why.
I don't think it's fair because we keep changing them.
I can do whatever I want because I host the show.
It's Andrew's show.
If I wanted my picks to be Rachel, Jordan, Will, and I don't know.
By the way,
someone
Jordan
that's not
rocked
even
that
in the house.
humilitard last year.
Yeah, she wore that last year. I think that was a treat for everybody watching too. This is fascinating. Janelle being nominated. Could Janelle do enough politicking to stay? I don't think this is in the bag. I don't think Frank is totally safe.
I think he is.
But she has nobody aligned with her at this point, right?
Doesn't matter.
That was her team.
No, doesn't matter. They hate her. Remember, Will hates her. Hates her.
Yeah, but it could change.
Will seems to be coming out with like his own little personality all of a sudden. He's like the gay male version of Britney.
Yeah.
Like, making fun of everybody, kind of like has a whole, he has a thing.
Who do you think is going to be the next target in the house? Frank is safe. I don't think he's going to be on the block the following week. So who's the target next week? Let's say Janelle goes home.
Mm-hmm.
Who would be a
So
target?
everything's going to change depending on who the HOH is.
Well, let's see. Shane could compete. Frank could compete. Just Danielle is not competing. Dan. I don't know who could possibly win, but who's the biggest target in the house after Janelle? Frank still, but Frank's going to lay low for the next week. I don't think he'll be put up on the block. Do you go with a throwaway vote? Who do you nominate? The veterans, I don't think the veterans are going to nominate each other unless something happens.
Well, Boogie keeps saying that all 4 of the coaches have to stick together.
Yeah.
So that they have the numbers. Because if one of them gets sent home, they're not going to have the numbers anymore, period.
Right. I don't know. I think Janelle's going home.
You think she's going home?
I do. I don't think she's done enough. I really don't think she's done enough.
Janelle?
As a personality. Like
on the show.
Whether or not she's here, she's gone, I don't care. But I think more people are interested in what Frank has to do. Especially if he has this storyline of always being put up and then not ever being sent home.
Someone's going to have to send Ian home. That would be the first guy I sent home.
Why? Because he's smart?
It's going to be hard because he's always willing to do the crap.
Yeah, but then it's going to be the final 4, and I'm going to be a target, so might as well get him out first.
Ian sort of reminds me a little bit of Enzo because he kind of has that, little brother thing where you're fine with him being in the house. He's not really upsetting anybody, and I don't think he's really going to upset anybody, so he's going to be there for a while.
Yeah, we still have time, too, because Danielle could lose her mind at any moment. And we discussed the psychology behind becoming the HOH and what that does to you.
Right.
And you start seeing it towards the end. And if they're nominated the following week after they get HOH, it's almost 100% they're going home. They lose their minds.
They do lose their minds. And I think it's probably because of all the stress that they're under.
It's the ups and downs, yeah.
And they're going through all of these emotions.
How do you think Willie would have done in the house if he was still in here? If he didn't go crazy? Do you think it'd be a totally different game?
Well, of course it would be.
Joss?
Definitely a different.
How do you think the game would have shifted if that was the case?
If Willie hadn't left, I think he probably would have been a very strong competitor and would have aligned himself, with another group. That's very, I think he'd be like a huge dominating force in the house. I really do.
But he was so unstable.
But I think the unstableness probably would have ended up getting him. He probably would have, if he didn't get kicked out, he would have fought and fought and fought and fought. And I think that would have been the reason he got kicked out.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have probably been able to make it very far.
Yeah, and the whole thing about Boogie not being happy, does anybody know that he wasn't happy? I think everybody knows at this point because he's constantly asking who's nominated. What does that do to his game if they find out that he doesn't want to be there? Which he doesn't at this. I mean, I guess he wants to be there, but he didn't want to play the game.
He's made it very clear that he does not necessarily want to be there. And he was saying that, the smart thing would have been for you to do was to nominate me.
Yeah,
he pretty much wanted to be nominated. And he was kind of insulted that he was not nominated.
Right.
That was a little bizarre, too.
It was really bizarre. And I wonder if it's because he felt like he's done.
No, I it's almost like he thought, no, what it was, he thinks he lost the game regardless because he thought he was going to win that 100K.
Right.
It's like, as long as Frank is safe, I'm okay.
Right.
And he thought he would get that, he honestly, I really think he thought he had that $100,000. And
what, in Frank? Because he really believed Frank was
going
to win? He really
believed Frank was going to win. Like, he really, really was behind it. And after he got out that first time of being on the block, he was like, okay, I'm safe. I don't think he really wanted to play hard. I think he just wanted to play. Now, Dan, if you're talking about people that haven't really played, Dan hasn't played at all. And I know he gets a lot of praise, but I don't think he's a great player.
I love Dan. I have to disagree. I love Dan. I think that Dan's a very smart player. And he has proven, and not just him, but a lot of people have proven that if you go out and you make yourself a target the first week out, you go home. But if you lay low and you only fight in the end, you win the game. So I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. And I've always liked Dan. I think that I don't know. There's something about Dan. I like him.
What twists remain for us to see?
I'm sure we'll
Coup
see a
d'etat.
Pandora's box.
Did we see a coup d'etat last year?
No.
No, we had the year before. We had the golden power of veto.
Diamond power.
Diamond
veto,
power. Diamond encrusted. 14 karat gold veto, and he didn't even use it. He did some ridiculous thing with it, right?
No, he used it. Matt used it.
But it was something stupid. I remember he did something really dumb with it. I don't remember what he did. So we're going to probably see that. We're going to see Pandora's Box. We're going to see, if we see a coup d'etat, I don't know. There's still so much left. But how are they going to... Are they equal
Well, basically,
for the
you
weeks?
have an entire season left.
Yeah. So they're starting all over. So we're going to have a double eviction one week. We're going to have everything that happened normally. It's going to happen now. I you know what? Regardless of all this, I still think this is one of the better seasons. So far.
I think that it had the potential to be something amazing, and if they had kept the coaches out of the game the entire time, I think it would have been great. But I think that doing this was not the best. And I also think that if they had maybe switched coaches, like had the coaches in and then also brought in like Enzo, Dick, like different weeks as like
coach.
an alternate coach, like maybe you always had a coach, but then that week there was always a different head of household.
But do you know what the problem with that is? You could go and be like, listen, so-and-so is saying this about your back, and this is what is happening online, and this is what everybody's saying. You have so much outside information you're bringing into that house where it would totally screw everything up.
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, that's my guess with this. I'm still sticking by Frank. Shane, I don't know if he'll make it to the end, but I'm happy with my picks. My original picks I'm happy with. So far, so good. You're
going back to your original lineup.
Yes, I go back to my original lineup.
You don't get to do that.
Yeah, I shouldn't have been able to pick a second one. All right, we're going to wrap it up. No third one. No third one. I'm going to wrap it up a little early today. But I want to remind everybody that you can go to our website. If you miss any portion of the show, you can go to our website, gfqnetwork.com, and catch the podcast of the show. We have both an audio and video podcast. We're also on iTunes, so definitely help us out and rate us and subscribe to us on iTunes. It's a big help. Thank you to Online Big Brother for providing all the information as they do each and every week. You can follow John on Twitter at Suncast. Jessica's also on Twitter at Jessica Zarian. And, of course, I am Andrew Zarian on Twitter. The Zarian family.
The Zarians.
Suncast Zarian.
Meet the Zarians.
None of us are related or married. We just use the last name Zarian. It's like a cult.
Yep. It's like a thing.
It's like a thing. We just put Zarian at the end of our names. Until next time, guys, enjoy watching Big Brother. And we'll see you all next week on Big Brother Rewind. Good night, everybody.
Good
night, everybody.